When changing the alcohol standard, it's important to think through what type of alcohol standard you're using. For example, displayed in front of you are bottles of alcohol standard that range from 20 milligrams per 100 mils through to 300 milligrams per 100 mils. Or in other words, from 0.02 on up to whatever you would like it to be. The point is that you can buy from a lab alcohol standard of all different concentrations. When brought up to a temperature of 34.0 degrees Celsius, then the headspace in the top of the simulator, if it's pumped through the approved instrument, then it should give a reading on the breath instrument, in my particular case an Intoxilyzer 5000, it should give a reading close to the target value. So if I use 20 solution and I bring the temperature of the simulator up to exactly 34.0 degrees Celsius plus or minus 0.2 degrees Celsius, then I should be able to get a result on the Intoxilyzer close to the target value. And on every one of these bottles, the temperature is very, very clearly marked. So for example, if we look at the bottle of 20 solution, it says right on it that the standard is only applicable if it's used at 34 plus or minus 0.2 degrees Celsius. The same thing with the 30 solution, with the 40 solution, the same thing with the 50 solution. This one's called 0.05 for use in the United States. The same thing with the 80 solution, with the 100 solution, with respect to the 150 solution, with respect to the 200 solution, and I think we'll find the same thing with respect to the 300 solution. Now, this doesn't say anything about temperature on it, but I wouldn't want to use it at any temperature other than 34.0 degrees Celsius. Now, just because you have an ethanol simulator doesn't mean you can't have a simulator that has something else in it. You could, for example, from a lab, buy a solution of a known concentration of acetone. In my particular case, I just bought acetone from a pharmacy, and I can mix some up myself. The problem is, of course, I don't know exactly what its concentration is. And I use this in very, very tiny amounts for testing with the instrument. Sometimes I'll add a drop of acetone into a simulator together with ethanol. Or as well, I could try an experiment with isopropanol as well as an interferent. But there's no reason why you couldn't have a mixture of, well, you couldn't have, first of all, acetone in distilled water as a test standard in a simulator, or isopropanol in distilled water as a standard. And there's no reason why you couldn't have an ethanol acetone combination in a simulator, and there's no reason why you couldn't have an isopropanol ethanol solution in a simulator, or a combination of acetone, isopropanol, and ethanol for purposes of testing. The advantage of using a simulator, of course, is that you've got a controlled environment in which you control the temperature and you make sure that there is no leakage of air and no gaps in the seal, so that every bit of air that is pumped out of the Intoxilyzer and through the simulator comes back through when it's recirculated through back into the Intoxilyzer. And it's only if the whole system is sealed up that you're able to make sure that you have an accurate alcohol standard being fed into the Intoxilyzer.